So, Jessica Weeks, Crystal Clean Properties, Deacon Weeks, Crystal Clean Properties, and we were going to talk about something interesting today. What were we going to talk about?
Asking permission.
Being programmed to ask permission. That's what happens. People have become programmed to ask permission. What do we mean by that?
Well, a lot of neighborhoods have a lot of regulations, so they're used to asking for permission to have landscaping and basketball hoops and RVs and whatever.
Some people don't even understand or don't really know how intrusive HOAs can be, but it's a choice. Like, oh, you choose to live in this neighborhood, and you sign up, and you have to pay your HOA dues, and basically you pay for these people to tell you what to do, right? So they're like, you have to do everything just so. It has to be a certain way, or else we'll fine you, or we'll kick you out of the homeowners association, out of the neighborhood.
I used to get a letter from the HOA. I had this, I don't know if it was even a tree or a bush, but it was, I was renting the house.
Yeah.
And they're like, you need to trim your landscaping or whatever. And I'm like, I don't even know what they're talking about. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to be a bush or a tree. Like, I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. It's just people who are, like, they don't have much power in their life, and they try to find positions of power. But I think it's a little deeper, and deeper even than that, where it's like we are literally programmed from a young age to think that we're supposed to ask permission to do just about anything and everything. Like in Tennessee, a lot of people that have lived their whole life in Tennessee, never left Tennessee, never lived in another state, never dealt with other states. They don't realize what some people have to go through just to drive their car, just to go down the road and drive their car on a regular basis. The check engine light's on, you can't drive that car in that state. Because why? Because some people got into positions of authority, and they use their authority to create rules and laws that tell people and dictate to people what they're allowed to do. And it gets to such a point where anytime someone's caught breaking a rule, there's all these people who stand behind and they say, oh, well, you should have known better. This is a rule for a reason, and it's for this and this and this and this, and we're all doing the world a better place by making sure that people's check engine lights aren't on in their cars when they're driving down the road, because it's safer for everyone. While an argument can be made for that, it is not conducive to freedom to make people have to do things like get emissions done on their vehicles, which is something we don't deal with in most places in Tennessee.
Yeah.
But people all over America have become conditioned to just accept that as okay. They become conditioned to accept that, oh, I have to have a license to drive this car, or to go fishing, or to do anything that I want to do. I have to ask somebody permission to do this. And what happens is, like, okay, so 100 years ago, if you would have asked someone if they needed to ask permission to go fishing, they would have laughed at you.
Yeah.
Right? But today, they're like, well, there's rules in Tennessee, and there's rules here. You can't just go out and go fishing without asking permission and getting a license and paying someone to do that. And people just think that that's normal because they've grown up always doing that.
Yeah.
Like, when a generation grows up and they've always done that, they don't recognize that there was a time that I didn't have to ask permission.
Yeah.
There was a time that I didn't have to get permits to do everything and anything in this world. Right? And it's not like it's the same everywhere, where it's like, oh, here we do it this way, and here we do it this way, and here we do this, and it's all different. And in a sense, that's good.
Yeah.
Because why? What's happening there? What do you think's happening there? Why is it different in some places? That's make that question a little more simpler. I was trying to ground in
I was like, I'm not sure what you're asking. I mean, I guess it depends on the area, or who's in charge, or, I mean, what kind of authority it is. Obviously, with an HOA, the argument is we're protecting your house values from going down, so we're keeping junky things out of that neighborhood.
Right.
The fishing thing is supposedly like people would just fish and fish and fish, and there'd be no fish left. I think same with the deer, which I was shocked that you there's not very many states that let you just hunt even on your own property if you own like 100 acres.
No, they
And
tag them.
I'm just like, if you're smart, you're not going to overhunt them if you're living off the meat because you want them to breed, and you generally are not killing the does and during the time they'd be pregnant and stuff anyway.
Right. Well, I think a lot of it is also the restraint. Like there's a certain amount of people in a certain area who say, you know what, we don't like this rules. We don't want these rules. We don't want people telling us that we have to do this, and this. That's why we live here. Yeah. So, like some people say, go back to whatever state you came from. It's like, well, first of all, we're an interesting couple because, we've been married for 26 years or something. And we both grew up in Arizona, but she had lived on the East Coast when she was younger and then moved to Arizona. And I grew up in Arizona, but I was born in Nevada. And then we moved to different states because we want to experience America. Like we want to see what the country we live in, what it means. So in a sense, I don't understand just living in one place and staying there your whole life. Only because there's an adventurous side of both of us where it's like...
Oh, we've driven across country, I don't know, at least 8 to 10 times.
So we choose, and maybe we haven't settled completely on Tennessee is where we live out our final days, but we try to choose places that match our belief system. We don't try to go to places and change their belief system. And that's the misconception that people have when someone moves, especially to Tennessee in this environment. They always think, don't bring your politics here. Well, come to find out, the politics of Tennessee are far more, I don't want to use the word left or right, but they're far less freedom-centric than I would have first assumed before living here. There are a lot more people here who have been conditioned to just accept that they don't have freedoms that they should have.
There's such a higher police per person from where we were, and I see cop and cop and
police. What do police do? Everybody's like, back the blue, and I look at that like it's basically just a gang of people who have these colors that they wave, and they're like the thin blue line gang and all this thing. And I'm all for police being a necessity. However,
emergencies, but not just
call for service, right? There's a certain amount of people who can't protect themselves, and they need somebody to protect them, and so police are important for solving capital crimes and things of that nature. Anytime a victim is created, we need people that are there in those positions. What we don't need are so many police, so many people in those offices that we have to manufacture new rules so that there can be enough money coming in to support them. Because they have to generate revenue through more rules and more laws. And
if you look at all the speed traps, it's like, why do they have so many speed traps? Are they really protecting people?
They say it's for safety.
Mostly they're trying to support the huge amount of cops they have per person. So it's like they have to go generate revenue and pull in money.
And there's a total disconnect between how to make a profit if people have only lived off of their government checks, whether it be pure welfare or the welfare of being a politician or the welfare of being a government agent in any capacity. It's still welfare. You're just living off of the society that is able to make a profit in some other way.
I mean, if they're catching murders and solving crimes and helping people, it's still a job that's producing something good. But if you're only entrapping people and harassing them and trying to create a crime to generate money and fine people, it's counterproductive.
Right. Absolutely. It's very good. It's very good if their resources are used to stop actual crimes. Where it becomes bad is when you have so many police officers and so much of an infrastructure that you have to create more rules to make more criminals and lock more people up because those guards that are working at that jail won't have a job if we don't have enough people covering. And I mean, again, there's always going to be crime, so that there's always going to be a necessity for that. And when I say crime, I mean a victim. But we're kind of off track in a sense. It's like why are people so conditioned in Tennessee specifically to think that they have to ask permission to do things? That's what blows my mind.
I don't think the general population is. I think that in our case, Spencer's, where we're dealing with right now, they have become a city for whatever reason, maybe just to create jobs. So now they need a paycheck every week and they have to justify their job. So now they're trying to create a method to make people who are actually doing something pay them, because they're not doing anything if they don't harass us.
Yeah.
Not just us.
Not just us. This
But,
isn't just.
yeah.
It's not just us in
Anyone
our
who's
situation.
doing active work to fixing a house are like, oh, well, they're fixing it. They must have money. Obviously, the people who are not fixing their houses probably don't have the money to fix the house, so they're not really going to go knock on their door, which is good. I don't want them harassing people who can't do that, you know. But they have enough sense to know that they're not going to probably get money out of them.
Right. And if they know the people, that's all the better. And if they don't know the people, that's all the better for them. They're like, well, I don't know this person, so they should pay me for being here because they're in my town. And it's like, well, again, that's that little, like, small town mentality in a sense where it's like they don't understand the value that you bring when people do start to come and do something. And it isn't just, see, they see the value like, well, you came here and did this and we didn't make this money off of you. But they don't realize the amount of money that we spend by being there in their town. They don't realize that if they have things there and I'm there, I'm going to spend money there, and that's going to stimulate their economic situation.
Yeah, I mean, you fill up gas, you get food for lunch, you hire people generally in that area to help you with work. I mean, whatever. Buy supplies if there's a supply place.
But if you make it difficult, they won't be there. They won't bring revenue to your city. They won't bring anything to your city. So in that town hall, they did a thing after I was talking, and they're like, "Oh, this money, we got this $6,000 grant for signs or something, so that people can come." Why would people want to be there? Like, what is there for them to want to be there?
There's Falls Creek Falls, but they have.
But that's not the city of Spencer.
I don't think that's even in the city.
No.
I'm not sure where the city is. So.
Yeah, me neither. Why would anyone want to be there? What are you attracting them to? Like that sounds rude. Like it's like, well, you're just rude and you don't think we have anything to offer. No. What do you have to offer? Like,
yeah, it's like if you have Airbnbs, then okay. If you have lodging, then okay. If you have, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of falls there, but all the attractions are around the falls.
Yeah, they're in the county.
RV.
They're not in the city. So how do you create tourism in the city if you do not create a city that people want to be at?
They don't even have a nice looking restaurant. Like,
I don't
not
know
even
a restaurant that's
that
really...
Kegel Mountain.
Well, that's not Spence. That's not
That's
Spencer.
not even the town either.
There's not really anything there. There's a little diner there that I tried to go to at one point. It wasn't open, but I think it's open now. But if they want,
so small that you couldn't have very many people in it. So like, even if you drew people there and it was really good, you could only fit like 10 people.
Right. And and the thing is, it's like, well, oh, that's, don't be upset. That's all they could have. That's the only place. What do you want them to do? No. That's fine. They're trying to do something, and more power to them. But if you want there to be an actual city, there has to be something there that can create an actual economy. That's the only way it can be a city.
As far as I can tell, the only attraction in the city, I think, if I know where the lines are, is the Burritt College or whatever it's called.
Yeah, the old one.
It's a museum.
Like a museum now.
So that's
crazy.
I mean, but who's going to travel that far to see that?
I don't know. Like I don't really understand it, and maybe and people might think that that's my fault, but no, it's really your fault. If you're the city and you want tourism, you have to attract me there or other people there by letting me know what it is that you have there that I want to see or be a part of or give my money to. And this is a bit off subject, but it boils back down to this whole turnaround to kind of come full circle. If it's so difficult for people to do something, we have to ask permission to do every little thing, and we have to make sure we go to you and, is it okay, mommy, daddy, government, if I do this thing? Businesses don't want to go there. Like, that's the whole point of Atlas Shrugged. Like, people don't get it.
Yeah.
Ayn Rand's book, Atlas Shrugged. what does that mean? The people who had were being so pressed by the people who were in government and power positions, so oppressed by them, that they said, we don't need this. Like, we really don't. We'll just shrug our shoulders and move on. I think it's funny because somebody put it out there that I've been run out of all these places, and I'm like, I haven't been run out of anywhere, first of all. Second of all, I started thinking about the South Pittsburgh situation because we had a property in South Pittsburgh, and I still work in South Pittsburgh all the time because I live near there. But we purchased this house. Well, it was a property, and it was like kind of looked like a commercial building. It could be maybe a duplex. We weren't sure what we were going to do with it, but it was reasonably priced. And somebody that we were friends with gave us the listing and told us it was available, and we bid on it, and we purchased it, and we got it. And there was somebody else bidding on it. We don't know who this other people are, anything about them, but they were someone who was powerful in South Pittsburgh, and they wanted it, and they didn't get it.
They were friends with the mayor.
They were friends with the mayor. We knew nothing about this. We just saw a property for sale, someone showed it to us, and we bought it. That's it. That's the end of that story. And we were trying to decide what we're going to do with it, and the chief of police shows up and starts harassing us. And interestingly enough, in South Pittsburgh, the chief of police is also the building inspector. So that added a layer of like interesting angles. And it's like this guy kept coming around bothering us about it. But we still just did what we were going to do.
But he didn't even know his own rules either.
He didn't know his rules.
So he's like, I got to check. But I don't think you can have parking here. And then he's like, oh, I got to check. I think you're R2, zoned R2. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, nope, you're not R2. You're actually R1. I don't know, there's a whole bunch of it. But the problem with the property was that there was no power meter. When we got there, it was pulled. And lesson learned, never buy a house without a meter in South Pittsburgh because it creates...
It was a little bit of a tricky thing to get around, but we got around it. And then what happened, somebody came along out of the blue and offered us cash offer on the property over what we purchased it enough that we ended up selling it within 3 weeks, and we made a decent amount of money on the property. If that's getting run out of town, I guess that sign me up. I'll do that anywhere I go. If I can make a profit in 3 weeks with doing very little work. I paid one contractor to replace the roof on it who had to get a permit because he was actually in the city, and it was a little bit different.
That's right in the middle of the city.
But so he and of course he had to get it. We didn't have to get it. At the same time, I still work in South Pittsburgh all the time. Like our company, we're still there, and it's a nice little town. I don't see.
It's more of a city than Spencer.
It's much more of a city than Spencer. I just don't see it as being conducive to production in that area and growth in that area if they limit the ability of people to improve things. And it's just like I told the mayor there. I was like, you know what? All I'm trying to do is make a place that's run down better. And what has that place done ever since we sold it?
It flooded.
Yeah. Nobody's done anything with it. We would have finished it and it would have been a beautiful little place. It would have been whatever, plans were done. It would have been livable or usable. But this person who bought it ended up being the person who bid against us previously. And they paid like 3 times what we paid for it, right? And then they sold it for the same price they bought it for at a loss because they didn't do anything with it. They sat on it and let the weather wreck it because
they didn't winterize it. So it didn't flood because of the weather. It flooded because I believe the pipes burst.
Well, because of the weather, that's what I meant.
Somebody called us up and said, your building's flooding.
Well, we hadn't known that building in a long time.
People knew we were working there, and they saw us, and they saw our vehicles, and they thanked us all the time. We're happy that the work was being done.
We were fixing it.
That people were just like, oh, so good to see something happening with this place.
We were bringing up the area, and all the neighbors were happy.
Falling in before we replaced it.
That creates vagrancy. People go to those places when they're empty, and it just creates an element that the city shouldn't want. The cities really should work with people like us and say, hey, why don't we fix up some of these places over here? And help us, in a sense, and be on our team instead of trying to be against us. That's where the problem comes in. Yeah. If the city was on our side, we would be on their side. But they immediately come after us like an enemy and treat us like an enemy, and so we respond as an enemy. And it's sad because I want to see good things happen in Tennessee. But I will just take, I'll shrug my shoulders and leave and go somewhere else and be happy anywhere. I don't, I'm not going to leave Tennessee, but I mean, as far as these towns go, if you don't want your town to be a nice place that's being improved, that's no problem for us, right? We won't go there. Like, I don't care. Keep them slums. Let the freaking drug elements stay there and keep them run down. The house that we purchased that we had this issue with, there was a lot of history with things in there that were not positive, I guess, that I don't know much about it, but it hasn't been that way since we've been there. We've improved it, and that's a fact.
For sure.
But
Probably long enough.
yeah, I am not going to go out of my way to ask permission for anything because I am an American and I do believe in freedom.